How's it going, guys?
What's happening?
What's apples?
I feel like I open with what's happening every time. Or something very similar.
I like what's apples. That's like my new favorite thing to say. What's apples?
It's not my new favorite thing to say. I'm glad it's yours, though. I will say that.
It doesn't fit me. It's it's definitely something I would say.
It does. With a little more awe, and you're good. Awfuls.
Was apples?
Yeah.
Was apples?
You get some heritage in there. What's happening, people?
It's back for another episode. Bass Now Radio.
Yes.
Andrew Lewis.
Andrew Lewis. Bass Now Radio.
Yeah.
Here we are.
There's
his thumbnail.
We got a nice thumbnails. You're gonna point at the camera like this, like that. Mm-hmm. We got an episode for you that has fishing related content in it.
Wow.
You
might not have ever said a truer statement on this podcast.
Why does my mic keep doing this?
That's weird.
It keeps like sliding around. I don't.
That was possibly the most true statement you've ever made on this podcast.
Wow, that's a hot take.
I mean,
I'm 100% sure it is. So we got some big Bassmaster news.
We got Bassmaster news.
We got some college MLF stuff going on.
Yes,
and then we got
and there was an event last week that we talked about happening, but didn't talk about. We're gonna review it. Lake of the Ozarks, if I remember correctly, or I kept saying it was Lake of the Ozarks, and it was Table Rock. It was an Ozark Lake. We're going to get into it.
Yes, there was an MLF event, a one-day college event.
And there's another one this week. And
then we got the biggest news of the week that I will be sharing my topics on.
And we have more info that we didn't cover last week.
Yeah. We alluded to a Bassmaster announcement last week.
Didn't talk about it.
In our 11 o'clock podcasting tiredness,
which may happen again tonight,
completely forgot about.
Yes.
So we're gonna try and touch on it this time.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, with that said,
let's get the boring stuff out of the way. Not boring, but
what do you want to get to? What do you want to do first?
What happened last week on a Ozark Lake?
On an Ozark Lake?
Yes. I want to say it was Table Rock if my money's on it, and I want to say it took 20 pounds to win. Let's see how good I am.
Well, hold on.
I don't know who won. I don't know how the weights. I think it was a pretty good weight spread tournament. It seemed like everywhere kind of popped off last week. We had the crazy cold across the country. Then we had some up and down weather. We had some flooding. And last weekend, it seemed like most places in the country.
Right.
Yeah, it seemed like most places in the country or in the South kind of started to get really going. So tell me what happened.
Okay, so Thomas Jones and Andrew Nova. I'm going to mispronounce this. My apologies, Andrew. You have the same name as me, but not the same last name.
Not the same last name.
Novatini. SIU.
SIU.
They won with 19 pounds.
Maybe Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois University is what I'm going for. Yeah. 19 pounds, 11 ounces. Fish. Second place was Hannah Hill and Nate Overrocker from Greenville University with 1801.
Nice.
So they didn't fall too far behind. And then single boater Kason Keys
rounded out the top three.
State, he will round out the top three with 1706.
Okay. How many boats do they have?
They had a whopping 117 boats, which for a Central Open is not bad. It's not bad.
So they took 11 boats. What was qualifying?
Qualifying would be 11th place was Cole Lamb and Tristan Weaver.
Okay.
Arkansas Tech with 15-11.
Okay, so not a bad tournament.
Yeah.
Pretty good weights.
Yeah, that was a very contested. 12th place was 15-10. 13th was 15-07. So very
tight.
Very tight.
Good. Yay.
All in all, that tournament, I ain't going to lie, turned out a lot better than I thought it was.
Yay for them.
I kind of was expecting that we'd review this week, and I'd be like,
low weights.
8 pounds qualified, 12
they caught
pounds
them.
won.
Seemed like everywhere kind of happened last weekend, or started to at the very least. Big fish were caught. A lot of fish were caught. Just about everywhere I heard of, except for on my boat. And yeah, good deal. Good deal.
So yeah, that was
congrats to Andrew and
Thomas.
Nice job, boys. 19 pounds.
Yeah.
It's not bad, especially on an Ozark lake. It's pretty good.
So
it's pretty good from what I know, which is nothing. So currently, Lake Chickamauga. Go ahead.
It's the open for MLF FLW where any division can go and fish.
So as we were talking about it earlier, which is weird that they have an open that any division could fish because you can fish any division now. Didn't that come out last year?
Yes, but you can only qualify through one.
Okay.
So this one's like an extra add-on.
Okay. Yeah. So we were talking about this earlier, and you were confused by the same thing that I was confused early on today. And that is like, what is this college open thing?
Yeah.
On Chickamauga. Like, what are we talking about? The confusion is that for the last 47 years, that tournament has been on Kentucky Lake.
Yeah, and it's always been at some terrible timed, it's either right after the Classic, before the Classic, or during a college series event, a Bassmaster College series event.
Yeah.
So it's it's always overlooked, I feel like. So.
Yeah, I agree. This is the first time in what I feel like maybe ever it's been on not Kentucky Lake. Chickamauga, it's 3 day, isn't it?
It's 2 day.
2 day, okay.
30th, 31st. Today was the first day. And the old
Big
sticks came out, getting the lead here. Condamar, Cole Sands from Bryan College, 23-15.
Not surprised.
Not shocked whatsoever.
At all. Cole's guiding out there. Connor's been fishing there his whole college career.
Yeah, I opened.
They'll probably have 22 again tomorrow.
I opened the leaderboard earlier just to see what was going on and was not surprised to see that.
No.
The one thing I am surprised about is that
the fall off.
Yeah. Well, the fall off, yes. But also the fact that there aren't more Bryan College boats in the top 10.
My boy. Well, I guess they're in 11th. My boy Ethan Shaw. Shout out to my boy Ethan, sitting in 11th place. Another Bryan boy.
But yeah, all in all, there's not a lot of Bryan boats.
Yeah.
In the top half, there's a lot of them below the halfway point. So really surprised by that. Usually Bryan comes and sacks them up on Chick. So
okay. You got $10
and
to your name, let's say, which is not true, but let's say you got $10 to your name. Actually, maybe it is true after what you just bought. You have to put $10 on Cole and Connor or the rest of the field. Where's your money going?
Cole and Connor.
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
No contest. Those guys are sticks out on Chick.
Especially after the start.
Yeah. Yeah, really hot start. So,
what are they, about a half pound up or a pound up?
Just about a pound up.
Okay.
And they're 3 pounds up on third place.
Okay.
Just about 4 pounds, actually. Sorry. So.
Could get ugly.
Yeah.
That's that.
We'll see what happens.
We saw what happened the last time.
We're willing to bet that they're going to do good, though.
We saw what happened the last time them boys took a lead. It didn't get pretty. It wasn't pretty. It got ugly. So.
It got ugly.
See what happens. That'd be something else. I'll tell you that much.
So, that's the current stuff.
Yes.
What's happening, or what's happened / what's happening.
I think what we should get into is the big hoopla in bass fishing, especially college bass fishing these days, and end on the Bassmaster high note.
Okay, you want to get through the meat of this podcast
let's jump into the meat and potatoes.
Jump into it.
We're moving fast. This is going to take a minute, I feel like. What do you got?
All right. So,
hot takes.
If you have been on any form of social media in the past 5-6 days,
or listen to any podcast,
literally been connected to anyone in college fishing, you have heard,
or even just fishing
in general, I guess. Yeah. You have seen that Auburn University's bass fishing team has been banned for fishing the 2021 season.
I will note, after listening to Bass Talk Live the other day, if not today, maybe I listened to it. I want to say, or Oklahoma State also is under a 2-year ban from fishing for the same reasons.
Okay.
Obviously getting less attention because they're not Auburn, but they're not the only ones.
So this has caught the attention of
everybody.
A all the way from pros down to the Facebook warriors. And it's gotten a lot of publicity. It's been, like you said, it's been on just about every podcast, has weighed in on it.
Yep.
I guarantee you the arguments you're going to hear in this one are probably going to be slightly different than the ones you hear in most podcasts.
I would think so. I would think so.
This is the college take on it, which is important when you're talking about college fishing.
I would say so.
Personally...
Wait. With you running hot, I would like to add a disclaimer. We mean no bad thing towards anyone. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's nothing bad. No badness. It's just I don't think people fully grasp the situation.
No one knows. And I 100% agree. 100% agree.
Me coming from, I am the president of the Charlotte Bass Fishing Team.
Yep.
He has argued with the school quite a bit about letting us travel to
I've been probably the most vocal on the team about it.
Yeah. So we know what we're talking about. We've been
in this situation
in Auburn's position
for a while now.
And just chose to do something a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, the way it works right now, most schools, with the exception of like
anyone whose school considers their bass fishing a club sport,
a club instead of a collegiate,
is likely
under the
dealing
athletic
with this.
department. You're under a travel ban.
Yeah, and even some team sports may be the same way.
Yeah. Essentially, what that means is you can't go and fish FLW events right now.
Yep.
Or MLF events. Sorry.
Which we're also not sure about.
Yeah, that is on the fence. The MLF has not been very helpful in telling us about that.
Yeah.
You can't go and fish the Bassmaster events with a jersey on when you weigh in your fish or when you're fishing. You can go to them and fish unaffiliated from the college. Essentially, the colleges have a travel ban for all aspects. It's not just club sports. I guarantee you it's the same as Charlotte, where not even the employees can travel for different reasons. So it falls under that. That's part of the COVID regulations right now. They are loosening. It is expected in the next couple of months that
which is irrelevant.
Will be lifted, but it's irrelevant to this argument.
Right. Essentially, the situation.
Auburn University has been fishing FLW events, I believe, MLF events, and they went to Bassmaster events with their jerseys on.
Right.
And they got banned for it from their college. What this means for them is that they can't use the college's money. They can't fish using Auburn's name for the year.
Right.
My guess is they're still going to fish Bassmaster events.
Exactly.
Which, to me, that's the funniest part about this, is that people have made this huge hoopla that they can't fish. They go 100% fish. We're all fishing because we're not fishing for the college. We're fishing for ourselves right now.
Exactly.
So if they swallowed their pride a little bit and just decide to drop Auburn University from their names,
right,
they could go and fish these events. But yeah, that point has been completely overlooked in most people's arguments against this. And it's just, it boggles my mind that no one's even brought that up, that they're still able to fish.
Yeah. Here's my biggest issue with it. I get it, as I'm sure you do too. You and I have both had been and have been arguing this since day one of travel ban and the whole. You can't compare fishing, and nobody will ever get this at a administrative level, but you can't compare fishing to, say, football or soccer or basketball or so on and so forth. You can fish in these events by yourself if you wanted to. You can get your own hotel room. You could travel and you could be as safe can be. So by no means are either of us saying it's messed up that they got banned because of the COVID rules, because we're the first ones to come out and say it's BS that fishing should be under such a travel ban.
If there's any activity that can be done safely during COVID, it is fishing.
Exactly.
Because if you're within 6 feet of someone, you're getting a hook to the back.
Yes.
So.
Exactly. I remember during the start of COVID, Bassmaster had articles out on how you can go out fishing with your partner and not with a partner and still not be within 6 foot. It's very possible. There's not saying that everyone's going to do that, but for the sake of argument, it's very doable.
But yeah, by
no
means are we saying that the rules aren't, in our opinion, somewhat unfair at the moment.
Yes.
For bass fishermen.
Right.
But our response to it, or their response, other people's responses to it, plus how they got caught, is really what got to me. And I think you're similar.
My biggest thing on this is I am 100% behind the fight, because I fought it, of we should be able to fish like normal because it's fishing and all of what I just said. Here's the issue with it. You could have fought this fight. I'm not saying I did it perfectly or the right way, because I think I should have done something similar to that they did. You could have fought this fight on the front end.
Yeah.
That would have been the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we had two tournaments.
I'm willing to bet that they actually did try and fight it.
But you didn't see anything. I don't think so.
Nothing was ever posted about like it's being posted now.
Nobody did it.
Where now they're trying to make Auburn University the enemy of this.
Right. The petitions and all of this should have started in June of 2020.
When we found out about this.
When we all found out about this situation, because that's when we all went, oh shit. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And we didn't fish. I didn't fish Hartwell because of it. Hartwell Bass, August of 2020.
None of us have fished.
None of us
MLF
have fished FLW one because of it. And partially, I will say, because I'm not really into fishing those events personally. That's my own thing, really. Now, and I told you this as well. If they wanted to go ahead and say F you to Auburn and go and fish those FLW, MLF, MLFLW, Big Five college tournaments, I get it, because I would have done the exact same thing with the Bassmaster tournaments this year. That being said, they didn't have to put their club at risk while doing so. They could have done it independently, individually, on their own, the whole nine, and just came out and said, look, yes, I violated the rule. I did everything in my power to try and fish unaffiliated to y'all. I didn't say anything about Auburn. I didn't wear a jersey. Or UNC Charlotte, or whatever the case may have been. They didn't have to be attached to the school, even when we couldn't fish bass unaffiliated. Then in September, Bass came out and said, hey, everybody can fish Cumberland as long as you sign up unaffiliated if you want to. Bass even said so. There is, oh God, now I'm going to get mad. Hank Weldon, thank you, Hank, sent out an email to all of us and said, if you are currently under a travel ban, fill this out so that you don't get in trouble. I mean, he said, don't wear your jersey. You can come up wearing a normal t-shirt, the whole entire thing. Hank said it, the tournament director himself. If you didn't want to hear it from your school, take it from the guy who's running the freaking tournament.
Yeah.
He's saying, guys, I'm offering you a platform to fish. Here you go. I mean, come on.
And just the fact that
it's no-brainer. It's no-brainer.
You know, and once again, going back to they could have, if they wanted to just forget what Auburn said,
right, and
try and fish under the radar, you don't go and make a highly publicized YouTube series with Auburn plastered all over it. This is getting reposted by multi-billion companies on Instagram and Facebook. They're going to find out. They ain't dumb.
The evidence was provided. I'm totally not trying to hate on Auburn here. I for one can say, and anyone who knows me can attest to this. By no means am I happy or anything about anything having to do with the situation. I wanted to fish against those guys. I wanted to beat those guys. I'm the kind of person that goes into anything in life and wants to beat the best. I don't want to beat somebody when they're down or injured or whatever, in a team sport or whatever the case may be. I want to beat everybody at their best If not, I don't want to. It's not. It doesn't feel the same. So these are guys that I wanted to compete against. I'm by no means happy they're not competing, but you did it to yourselves. At the end of the day, like you said, you provided all of the
evidence. Yeah, all the evidence was there.
You basically turned yourself in and handed in the evidence of the crime.
Yeah, it was a breadcrumb trail.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, guys. I'm with you fighting the fight on this, but at the same time, you don't have to do it and shoot yourselves in the foot the way you did.
And now here's my problem, because the way they got caught, in my opinion, could have been 100% avoided.
Yep.
Could have handled that whole situation differently. But what has really boiled me over has been people's responses to it. Because this is a problem that every college is dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Every college team is dealing with this. And to me, being the president of a club, it kind of feels like a kick in the gut.
Yeah.
When people start posting about this, a problem that we've had, and that we've had to deal with, and we didn't ignore the rules.
And we had no, and when we were fighting our fight, had no support.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
support.
you and I.
We talked about it. You posted on Facebook, I believe, at some point.
Probably so. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
And it's crap that the response came because of a big name college getting in trouble. If it was a smaller college, say like
Oklahoma State,
you
didn't hear nothing about them guys.
Nothing about them getting banned.
No,
not a word.
No.
So, any of the small, even us, like if we had actually gone and ignored the rules and got banned, would there have been the same kind of response?
Probably.
Maybe. We do have some big hens in the elite
we have
series.
more clout than other schools. Not much, but
all right,
more. Fine.
That's a bad example. All right.
Yeah.
Western Carolina. Fine, we'll use Western Carolina.
Dang,
smaller team.
tough guys.
It doesn't. They broke the rules. They got punished for it. And in my opinion, they shouldn't be forgiven that easily because all the other teams are following the rules.
Here's what I'll say. I'll say this is something I will disagree with, not with you, but in general. Like I said earlier, if something like this, some kind of petition or movement to get this turned around happened at the jump in June of last year, I would have been fully signed on with it 100 and million gajillion %. But the same problem now is going to be faced. That is going to be the same problem that would have been faced then, in that the school ain't going to care.
No.
At the end of the day, I don't think. I'd be surprised. I may be wrong, because if it gets to the point where money gets talked about and funders, that's when money is at the end of the day everything.
Money is the driver.
So
that's why football played this season.
Exactly. So if money ends up getting taken out of Auburn's pocket because of this, then we're talking about change. But that being said, the school, if it's just a people signing 10,000 names on a petition, they are not going to care. They don't care. It's just the way it is. I don't agree with that. I personally wish they would care. They don't. I can tell you, at least at our school, I went through just about as far as I could, as far as channels go, trying to get myself to be able to fish. I told everybody on the team, I didn't care about you guys. I wanted to fish for myself, and I would have done it anywhere I could, and they didn't care. So at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to care. But at the same time, I do. Not that I disagree with you, but I'm not so upset with the response because of the fact that I don't think anybody has a clue of what the real story is. People see banned because of COVID, fishing, and they're just as upset as we were in May.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're seeing. Hopefully this podcast gets to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to get through to the people listening to this.
Yeah.
Is that all the college teams have been dealing with the same crap that they're trying to get, like all these petitions are trying to get through right now. We've all had the same problems. I don't know, the way I looked at it, and I thought this analogy earlier, is, say Auburn got caught throwing umbrella rings or something.
Right.
something that's against the rules. They do it against the rules. They did something that was against the rules. They got to accept the punishments of it. They did something that was against the rules. And not only was it against the rules, it could have been 100% easily avoided, especially at the Bassmaster event.
Exactly. Which, at the end of the day, the Bassmaster Lake Hartwell event is where this whole series, which I guarantee you is how the school even found out about it, came from.
Yeah. And they could have fished out without jerseys on.
Hank,
they had a letter. I guarantee you they had an email from Auburn University that I have the same one of.
Yep.
That says your team's banned from travel.
Yep.
You can't go anywhere.
And on top of it, I guarantee you they fought just as hard as we did within the school. And I guarantee you Auburn went to them and said, if you can find a way to fish unaffiliated, go right ahead. The same way they did to us. And then Hank offered the platform to do it.
So, I don't know. It's very frustrating.
it is. It's frustrating. It definitely is frustrating. I agree with you. I mean, I'm not mad so much at people who are mad at the situation because, like I said, I totally get it. If you don't know what's going on here, I totally get it. That being said, and I know these are good guys. I've talked to them. I have some really good friends on the Auburn Bass team. I'm not saying they're idiots or dumb or the whole nine. I'm just saying in a situation like this, when you know what you did wrong, you kind of got to take it, move on, and go and fish unaffiliated. You don't have to.
Again, you can still fish Bassmaster.
The Bass Club is banned, but you don't have to fish as a member of the Bass Club. Go and fish as your name from college, university, and come up with your exact same series. The Auburn name isn't in is it Reclamation? Is that the name?
Reclamation series.
Auburn, the school name, is not in that title. They don't even have to change the video title. They can just change it from being an Auburn University Bass Club to a group of bass fishermen.
College bass fishermen.
Fishing college bass. It's not like they have to lose sponsorship over it if they're getting money from it. Whatever, they can continue the series. They can fish unaffiliated. They can go on this video series if they wanted to and talk crap about it. As long as they don't use Auburn's name, they ain't doing anything wrong. That would be my suggestion to you guys. You live and you learn. At the end of the day, these schools are... I disagree. Like I said earlier, I fully 100% disagree with it. They have final say, and they don't care about us. Unless you go to Bethel, Bryan, McKendree, or like Campbellsville. That's the way it is.
The schools that make a lot of money from bass fishing. Yeah,
I hate to say it. It's just the way things are. It sucks.
So yeah, that's our hot take. I'm sure it's different from most people say.
Yeah, but I think it's fair.
We have a little bit more of an inside view than I think a lot of people have on this.
Yeah.
So there's definitely frustration.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's wrong for signing the petition or supporting it or whatever the case may be. Just know in the back of your minds that this has kind of been happening, and know that technically these kids still can't fish.
Yeah. Yeah, this essentially came 8 months late.
They might have to pull the Auburn wrap off those couple of boats.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something they're going to have to do.
Or at least cover it somehow.
Which is something, by the way, that I think they could have gotten away with.
Yeah, I think if they went to an event, didn't wear the jersey, didn't wear the jackets, and they fished in the boats, and then Auburn had a problem, I think they could have been like, hey, it's a $4,000 wrap, we're not going to pull them off.
Exactly. Sorry.
And Auburn would have probably understood.
Right. Or just friggin', I think, you know what? There's a guy that I talked to a good bit, really good dude. I forget his name. I want to say his name was Will, or I forget his name exactly. He might have graduated. Who fished Cumberland, who went to Auburn, and he went to Cumberland in an Auburn wrap boat and duct taped Auburn. Like it was the orange and wrap, but the word Auburn was duct taped.
So at that point, they did know what was going on.
Right.
Well, that just made things worse.
Yes.
They had it right at Cumberland.
I will also add that he wasn't wearing a jersey. I remember those guys weren't wearing jerseys.
So now I'm curious. Where's the disconnect now from Cumberland to the Hartwell?
The Reclamation series.
Doing a YouTube series.
Yep. 100%.
So
that's that.
That's that. Now that I've gotten
hope
that
we didn't
all
make
out.
any haters.
That's been sitting on me for a while.
If anybody wants to reach out to Andrew or I and talk about this, whether you're from Auburn and this upsets you or whatever the case may be, I hope it doesn't. I hope we've come through pretty reasonably here. I think we have. I think we've come about as reasonable as can be. But if you disagree, please let me know. Love to talk to you about it. Love if you wanted to come on. We could have an Auburn pod not versus, but and us pod mashup. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe there's a side of it that we don't know. Who knows? We'd love to hear from y'all.
Yeah. If there's something we missed,
let us know. I think we got it, but if not, I'd love to talk to you guys. Remember, I got 2 good buddies over there. Love to talk to you guys. Root for you guys. Yeah.
But and then let's go to a happy note.
Sure. Which one? I say we end on the big.
We'll end on the big. We'll go to the medium.
We probably lost about half our listeners by now, but for those of you still hanging on.
Big announcement last week. Bassmaster. This was the one that we missed. Bassmaster is bringing back the Redfish Cup.
Yes. I'm excited for this.
I am too, because I love redfish.
I think this is really cool. I have a question for you. Did you read the whole article?
I did not. I ain't gonna lie.
So there's a part of it that's really interesting. From my understanding, there's 3 big redfish trails. I don't know the names of any of them, but there's 3 big redfish trails. They're taking a couple guys from each of them. I think it's 20 total or 15, some number like that. A couple from each of the big trails. And then they're taking 4 of just like the top names in the Redfish Tour or trails who already didn't make it and pairing them with an Elite Series angler.
Ooh.
Yes.
I like that.
Right? Isn't that cool?
I dig that.
Yeah. So there's going to be some Elite Series crossover, probably to try and get some bass guys into it, which I think is a great idea. I want to say it's been they said it was 12 years it's been since the last one. I'm not sure why it lost. I feel like it was really popular.
Yeah, well, I think
I remember watching it back in the day.
I would imagine it's because the redfish population for a little while was low.
They still ran the tournaments, though. I know that the redfish trails.
Well, the redfish trails, yeah, but Bassmaster ended their thing.
Yeah.
So for those of you who want to know, this is going to be in Port Arkansas, Texas. Wow. Port Arkansas.
Is it that? I thought it had a different name.
No, it's Port Aransas.
Port Aransas. Yeah, I read it as Arkansas.
Holy crap! My God, that's really a mess up.
I read it as Arkansas too, and then I read it again. And I was like, oh.
November 10th to the 12th. Top prize $50,000.
Yeah.
Pretty good prize for it.
So yeah, I think it's like a no entry fee deal, and it's basically just I hate to put it as this, but it's kind of just a publicity deal. But at the same time, I mean, it's a tournament to watch with $50,000 on the line, and I don't think they got a pantry fee. So
that's gonna be dang cool to watch. Right here.
Yes.
Those of you that don't know redfish, they are crazy cool fish.
And I hope we have live.
I hope so.
That would be freaking cool.
I would imagine that they're not doing anything in November. So
yeah. I mean, maybe like the team, but they don't have live for that. I hope that they have live for this. That would be really cool. Yeah, you get Tommy and Zona in there talking about freaking redfish.
Talking about redfish.
That'd be cool, dude. There's no one better. So yeah, I'm excited to watch this for sure.
So the big news came out yesterday.
Big yay.
The big yay from yesterday.
Yes.
Bassmaster Classic is returning to Lake Hartwell.
Yes.
March 4th to the 6th.
Yes.
Absolutely not a surprise.
No.
But us here at UNC Charlotte are very happy about it.
Yes. Anyone in the Carolinas, Tennessee, this region
2.5 hour
that is
drive.
upset about it being in Texas is happy that it is here again next year. To those who say, and there are definitely going to be those who say, this news came out today, by the way. So we're on. It did?
When this drops.
Right.
It'll be yesterday.
But for the recording,
today,
we're on the news for once.
Yeah, literally on the news by like 4 hours.
Usually
5 hours.
Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, usually we record and then the news comes out the next day.
Yeah, we got on it this time. For those who will say and who have said already, I'm sure, they're getting tired of seeing the same places. I hear your pain. I definitely get it.
I hear your pain.
I as much as I love Hartwell has been very, very kind to me. There's been a lot of Bassmaster Classics which involve people throwing jerk baits on points for blueback herringfish and throwing chatterbaits at the backs of docks for largemouth. That being said, it comes back to the same thing we've been saying about the schedules. They're going to places they have relationships with. Due to COVID, a whole lot of stuff went down, and people are sketchy about bass fishing and the whole nine. So they're going to places that have the money and will pay, and that we enjoy going to.
And I will say this. They just rebuilt Green Pond.
Yep.
And I think a big part of this was for Bassmaster.
Yep, 100%.
And I do think that once this classic is done, I don't think you're going to see another classic there for a couple of years.
Okay.
Like at least 4 or 5 years. I think you're going to see Elite Series events there. Well, but I do think they want to kick off the opening of this new Green Pond launch with a classic. So.
Well, you know, what feels weird. It feels weird saying this. It feels like last year. The last one was 2018. So by the time March of 2022 comes around, it'll have been 4 years.
It'll be 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. That being said, if you look at the way the old classics used to run, it would be like 2 years in a row for a place, and then they wouldn't go back for 10.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is something that they should kind of. It's so hard to do, especially nowadays. Being that it is such a big event, you need to fill up a big room. It's not, you can't have it on the places they used to have it.
Yeah, you need convention centers.
It's a different
big convention centers.
Yeah, and it needs to be from somewhere between, if we're doing a rectangle, like Virginia, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma. It has to be in that square somewhere. Just there's more support for bass fishing. There's more knowledge of it. There are certainly places up north that would take it, but being that it is a springtime event these days, you can't do it up north. So you're going to see a lot more repeat, I think. But I am excited to go back to Hartwell. Good. It has.
You'll see us there at the Bon Secular Wellness Center.
Yeah, it has a great
name of that.
It has a great. The infrastructure there is very good for a classic.
Oh yeah. It's by far probably the best that I've been to. Mm-hmm. Still enjoyed Knoxville a lot.
Mm-hmm. The setup was better at Knoxville, but I want to say the arena and the expo center for Hartwell is about as good as it gets.
It's good.
At least, in our region.
And certainly for blast off, although Knoxville was pretty cool being on the river, but Green Pond is it's pretty much specially designed now to hold big tournaments.
Yep.
So
Yep. It's about as good as it gets. We'll definitely be there.
for sure. For sure.
And
You got gripes about our Auburn statements, you can meet us there in 2022.
and we can talk about it. No, but for sure, I'm definitely excited to see you back at Hartwell, just from our standpoint and from a fishing standpoint. I mean, Hartwell's always a good lake, and if you look at it, I mean, people will complain it's the same kind of rinse and repeat. It really hasn't been that way. Hartwell is it changes a lot.
Yeah.
If you think about the last, I want to say 3 classics, you got 13, 15, and 18.
I think they
that
all
run
run
Hartwell
somewhat differently, right?
They were. Alton Jones won on a football jig, dragging like a road bed. Casey Ashley won on an underspin, running his holes. And then, of course, Jordan Lee won it skipping docks. But like Jason Christie made a really strong push, throwing dirty water, chatterbait shallow, largemouth. Brent Erler made a push in that tournament, fishing only deep spots. So like, it's a very dynamic lake.
Yeah, I mean, we just came from there, and you can catch them doing so many different things.
Mm-hmm. So. Especially that time of the year. They're all fat. They're all big. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's essentially about the time that we were there this year.
Yeah. I can say this. Well, maybe not. I was gonna say forward-facing sonar will play a huge role, but at the same time, I can tell you, even though I didn't have it, I can tell you, with the advent of forward-facing sonar, from my last experience at Hartwell, those fish are starting to know. They know what's going on top of them. I don't think
so?
100%. 100%. I know for a fact.
It's a hot take. I like that.
I know for a fact. Now, I don't think they don't know about forward facing yet. But by then, I think it'll start filtering out. As everybody gets forward facing and everybody goes to Hartwell and fishes offshore, those largemouth get more and more and more comfortable doing their thing.
Yeah.
So
I think you see a 50-50 split. I think that's what you can see. I think
a lot of times.
See guys throwing them. I think you see guys on shallow. So
John Cox will be there without a graph in his boat catching them. So, excited for Hartsville.
Excited for that. Another thing, we haven't brought it up yet. If you haven't watched last week's episode, we welcome Deep Apparel.
Yes.
If you haven't checked them out yet, shopdeep.com. They make great clothes, great hats.
Yes.
Great performance fishing gear. And you can use the code Sunrise20 at checkout, 20% off. Be sure to check that out.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Don't even need a script.
Don't need a script.
And
Scriptless.
if you're not in the BizBaits True South fantasy group,
do it.
You're an idiot.
I think we've said that.
To you, I will say you are an idiot. They're giving out prizes every week. If you're new to fantasy fishing and you haven't even done it this year, you can hop in now and still win a prize. Duh. And then if you suck at fantasy fishing and just want some good tackle,
me,
you can
right here. That's me.
You want some new jigs or spinner baits or buzz baits or plastics or worms or craws, you can go over to bizbaits.com or great hats. You can go over to bizbaits.com and check it all out. Good stuff.
But on that note, guys, we hope you guys enjoyed the podcast.
Yes.
If you got anything to say
it.
DM me, DM him. Don't show up at my house, though. I wouldn't appreciate that, but
you can show up at mine.
You can show up.
Sit outside by the old chip far and have a beer.
Just don't knock
like
too hard.
People will
John
get that,
Pope
but it's
may
worth
shoot
it.
You.
Like 3 people will get that, what I just said, but you got it, you got it.
We hope you guys have a great weekend, rest of your week.
Yes.
Catch them up. Enjoy the warming weather.
Oh, also Smith Lake Open was canceled. Started to throw that in there.
Yes. Yep, that pollen. See,
on that note,
it's warming up.
On that note,
I went outside this morning. My truck was completely covered in pollen.
Oh yeah,
truck. I'm like, cool.
I fished a pollen mat with a frog last weekend and got bit.
And got bit.
Yep.
Of course. Yeah, we'll see you guys. Peace out.